Hi, this is Don Matteo, and then you are listening to the Ought to Know Better podcast. Let's do this.
You look like fucking Brolin, you're a Leeds hating bastard.
Look like some sort of fucking weird floating head. No.
He's a utensil player a bit, innit?
I mean, I feel a bit right, dickhead.
Nothing spectacular, really.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Berardi and Gnonto from the Ought to Know Better podcast. I'm Smarty, and I'm joined by the wonderful little wee man, Jaden.
Cheers for that, mate.
And the more even fantastic Jer from the Leeds United The View. How are you doing, boys? Are you well?
I think we're both pretty much half dead, aren't we? After watching the Royal Rumble last night and then getting up for this.
Yes. Adulting at its finest, chaps.
Hey, listen, adulting when you can stay up till whatever time you want because you wanna. So.
Hey, mate, you ain't got kids. You've got a license for it.
Exactly.
I wish I had the same grace. I stopped up till whatever time last week and ended up getting my makeup done and whatever else at normal time. Having my hair brushed and all that sort of shit. So, fair play to you.
It's nice to have the hair to be brushed.
Yeah, it's nice to have the hair to be brushed. You're right, mate. Welcome everyone in the comments. Get your interactions going, etc., etc. Chaps, we drew at 1-1 in the fourth round of the FA Cup against Plymouth yesterday. I don't know what you make of it, but I will start with you, Jaden. What did you think of the game?
Diabolical. Honestly, it were crap. It started all right. We looked a bit lively early on. You thought, it's a cup team, but it's a strong cup team. Should be able to beat these. They're not great. We looked like we were going to do that, and then I don't know. It's like we ran out of steam or something, and gradually let them take over the game in that second half to the point that goal was coming for a while.
Our good friend Melia got let off a little bit by at the back post. That should have been a bit of a warning shot for us. What did you make of the game, Jay?
Yeah, it's similar to what Jay said. I think we started well. To the first 10 minutes, we kind of got caught a little bit by surprise. They kind of came at us a little bit. Then we took over the game. We're dominating. I think we had 76% possession at the end of the first half or something like that. Something stupid, a massive number. And then the second half, we've seen this before from Leeds, that we've seen this drop off, for 20 minutes in games. And I think we saw it with Plymouth the first time we played them in the league at home. We think we were dominant for 25 minutes, then we took the foot off the gas and they scored before half time. So we've done it before. It's not great for these players that are coming in and trying to make a stake for a place in the team after not being in the team for long. They come in, don't perform, or we perform badly. And then the second half was just flat. It was just dead. I don't think we ever really got going properly in the second half as well. And that goal was coming. I did think there was a possibility they were going to score. It's a shame the manner they scored. We got caught upfield. You end up seeing, and then Whittaker's very clever. Like Whittaker runs inside and brings Sam Byram inside with him, and that frees up a huge amount of space. And then Jaden Anthony doesn't get back and cover the other guy, and he scores a tap-in. But if you look on the far side of the pitch, Jamie Shackleton's out of position as well, and that's where the initial run comes from, into the space where Shacks is. So yeah, it wasn't great. It's disappointing. It causes us bigger problems. Now it makes February look like it's going to be a really tough month for us as well. There's a lot of travel in that. So not ideal at all, but we are the makers of our own downfall at times, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Aren't we just?
What did you gents think of the team selection for the day? Any special mentions to anyone? Any surprise additions for the lineup? I do have my program here, of course.
I did put you a message saying that I've uploaded the team sheet thing into the brand, so I'll just pull it up if we're going to
just pull it up. Then let's go through a few of them. So Melier, first and foremost. I mean, we're going to go obviously into a little bit more about Melier because he's a hot topic at the moment. But did you expect to see Klaassen included, chaps?
No.
Did you not?
No. I didn't.
See, I thought he would have been in with a shout, to be honest.
Who the hell is Christie, by the way?
He is the under-18s goalkeeper.
Oh, right.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. People were going off about us having two keepers on the bench in January. Yeah.
Farke said it as well. Farke made the point afterwards about the squad being light, and he was saying having two goalkeepers on the bench is never a good sign for any kind of game. So
yeah. That's the message. Is that
it? Kind of echoes his. Go on, mate. Sorry.
No, it's a decent young keeper, Christie. He's not bad.
I've not
He's
really
very
seen
young.
much of the under 21s or under 18s, or is it under 23s now? Sorry, under 23s and the under 18s and stuff. I don't really keep my eyes on it now.
I don't, to be fair.
I know that obviously our youth, Matteo Joseph and stuff, like to dip the toes in every now and again and stuff. But apart from that, I think they played PSV the other week as well, didn't they? Got their asses handed to them. So
Missing
it's not
half
something.
the team.
Yeah, it's not something I really watch too much.
I did expect Joseph to feature more. I thought he may.
I thought he'd start, or I thought he'd get off the bench first, and he ended up getting his standard 3.5 minutes of game time.
Yeah. Get your appearance fee, kid, and get a bath.
That's it. I mean, you look at the Byron Shackleton inclusions. Cooper rode on. It's pretty standard. Then Ampadu, Gruev, Jorginho, Anthony, Gnonto, Piroe. Let's jump straight into it then. Let's talk about Gnonto and Piroe. They seem to be getting a lot of flack, especially on the I suppose if you're on the X or the Twitter, etc. They seem to be getting quite bashed on there, and rightly so. I would say. I don't think Piroe covered himself in glory. I think he's quite a tidy player myself. I know that he gets a lot of stick, but I do think he goes about his work pretty well. He just goes missing a little bit too much for me. He's not. You look at Georgie, and obviously, Somerville went there. They're right at it. They're pretty much the front and center of everything, of every attack that we have. That we ever do. Obviously, Dan James as well. But Piroe, obviously, he's been knocked out of the team a little bit by Bamford and stuff. But I thought, come on, man, this is your time to shine now. You're in the number 9 position. I want to see something from you, and I really, really didn't see anything at all from him. I don't know what you guys think.
I'll let Joe take that one. I was just starring some comments for us.
Thanks,
Paying attention as always.
That one. Piroe, yeah. I wanted to see him in the 9. I wanted to see the swap. I wanted to see him and Georgie in the opposite positions. We've been talking about all season about getting Piroe in the 9 and Rutter in the 10. I think we've seen the best from Rutter in the 10 since he's gone into that position. I think it solved a huge problem for us. We needed a number 10. We probably don't need number 10 now, or at least maybe not a starting number 10, because he's been so good there. He gets involved in the game, though. Like, he'll go looking for the ball. He'll drop deep. Piroe's kind of a player for me. The more I watch him, you need to feed him. You need to give him the ball. If you don't give him the ball, he's not going to get involved. He's not going to come looking for it. You need to literally need to feed him. And I think if you've got someone like Dan James in the team, you get an awful lot more service into him. I think he's probably a lot more direct that way. Without that, you need creativity from the wide ears. Jaden Anthony is more of a player that cuts in and shoots than a player that cuts in and crosses. And then Willie Gnonto is very similar as well, cuts in and shoots. And so the supply into Piroe is different when those two are playing, rather than having, more direct wingers, or even more direct fullbacks. Even when Firpo plays, the kind of balls that Firpo puts in from wide areas as well, but suit Piroe down to the ground, but didn't get that supply. So I think there's a little bit of, he's a little bit unlucky with the team that was around him. He wasn't getting necessarily the supply that he needed, but you want to see him go get involved in the game if it's not happening for him. Like, if he's up there on his own, he's not doing anything, he's not getting the ball, you want to see him drop a little bit deeper. Like Georgie did when early parts of the season when he wasn't involved. You'd see him dropping into our own half to try and get the ball.
Yeah.
Piroe doesn't do that. He stays up there, and that's his job. But he wasn't great. Gnonto, I feel a bit of sympathy for Gnonto because he's not had a huge amount of minutes, so he's not really got a chance to get his game legs under him. And this thing that Farke does, he has this match preparation squad, which is, Creswell's been in it, Gnonto's been in it, Shax is in it. They're kind of on the fringes, and they're involved in pre-match kind of stuff, but it's not competitive football. Like, Gnonto's not playing week in and week out competitive football. He's getting a couple of minutes off the bench. None of them drop into the 21 side to get competitive minutes under their belt at all. They just hang around the first team squad and don't play. So I think that's a problem for me with how Farke uses the bench and how little football they get on the bench. And then they're expected, when they do come in, they're expected to come in and be at the same level as the players that are playing week in and week out. And I think that's tough for them. But at the same time, Gnonto's looked rusty. He looked off it. People say at times he didn't look interested. I think he looked really frustrated with himself. I think his touch early on in the game wasn't good. His passing wasn't great. I think if he scores the goal in the first half that the keeper saves onto the crossbar, I think you probably see a different Willie Gnonto. But he needs a confidence boost right now, and he needs something to lift him. But he wasn't effective. And again, playing him on the right hand side, I don't think is his best stuff either. I think leave him on his natural. So, if you look at, he's been really good for Italy under 21s. Like, he scored 4 goals in the international window in 3 games or 2 games. He got 4 goals for Italy, playing as number 9 or dropping deep into a number 10 position. But we just don't give him that shot up front. It's out on the wing you go, and he just hasn't been effective out there this year at all. And but I do have a little bit of sympathy for him just because of the amount of minutes he's getting. And the expectation is, he'll come on and be the same as he was last year. It's like, well, he's barely kicked the ball this year.
Yeah,
it's a strange one actually when you think about obviously comparisons between Bamford and Gnonto. Obviously Bamford again having scraps basically coming on at the end of the games and stuff like that, but managing somehow, and I don't know where it's come from, to find this little bit of form that he's managed to get into, which is perplexing for me, because all of a sudden he's so many fans have written him off, myself included, thinking we've seen the last of Patrick Bamford, and all of a sudden out of nowhere, that little goal that he scored, or a great performance that he had in the cup, and we've got a completely brand new Patrick Bamford. So yeah, I totally understand what you're saying there. Maybe Gnonto just needs that little bit of that little injection of brilliance, and then I think, like you said, if he scores that goal, I think we see the Gnonto show. Yes.
Next thing you know, he's trying overhead kicks as well.
Well, he's the kind of player that likes that kind of stuff. But he needs something scrappy to go in off his arse. Like, I mean, look at outside of Bamford's wonder goal, which, and let's be honest, nobody really intends to score that kind of a goal. It's a bit of a hit and hope. Like, no, and you always know with a celebration. I used to say when I played as well, if you see someone smash one in on the volley from 40 yards out and they don't celebrate, just stand there and go, you didn't mean it. You didn't mean it. You didn't think that. You just swung your leg at it and you were hoping for the best. But it's the second goal that Bamford gets, the one where he's lying on the ground and toe pokes it into the back of the net. That gets him. That's more of a number 9 kind of goal. But that's 2 on the bounce from him. Then the confidence is really, really high. And Willie needs something like that. He needs something to bounce in off of him, or a tap in or something, just to get him going and relax him a little bit. I still think Gnonto needs that moment with the crowd to kind of mend the bridge. I think he's still waiting
that little
on
bit
that.
of acceptance.
He does need something, He does need something.
Yeah.
People want to see you run through a wall for Leeds, don't they? And if they don't see that from him, he's not going to get people back on side. I think he did look frustrated, but I thought he was trying really hard, at least in the first half.
For me, it's still the effort's there. The effort's 100% there. It's just not
coming off.
Yeah.
And if you are a good footballer, you are going to get annoyed when stuff's not coming off for you, because you want to show what you can do. You want to contribute.
We've all seen what you can do.
Exactly.
We all know the levels that it can achieve. We saw it in the FA Cup. Sorry, I don't know if it was the EFL event against Cardiff last year.
Yeah,
EFL Cup against Cardiff last year, and obviously in the Premier League last year. There's a reason why we're being tapped up from left, right, and centre. Teams are interested. Obviously, not wanting to spend what the fee that we're asking for him, but there is plenty of interest in him. It's surprising that we don't play him in the 10. Do you think it's Fark and obviously the number 9, or the ideal number 9 that he wants to play in his obviously formations and stuff? He's more like obviously not something that a Piroe can offer, but your Bamford obviously can hold the ball up. His movement's very, very good. Would we see that from Gnonto, or is he too direct? Is he too, obviously we don't know the ins and outs of it. That's down to Daniel Farker, but it's interesting to see why that he won't give him that shot in a number 9 role.
First game of the season, mate. No, first home game of the season, Gnonto started up front because we nobody else.
Yes.
And he was fantastic in that game. He had 2 absolute rockets that he hit that just missed the crossbar, like just barely went over and just barely went wide. He looked really, really busy. I mean, for me, I don't see obviously enough of him in training and stuff like that, but I think he's got all the attributes to be a really effective number 10. I mean, he's got a low center of gravity. He's tricky on the ball. He can tackle. He's physical. He's got an eye for a pass. He's creative. He's got a wand of a right and a left foot when he needs to, put his foot behind the ball. He's got a rocket of a shot.
Yeah.
I always thought he's built to be number 10. Like he could be perfect for that position, but he's never really got to run that position. But if you look at him playing for Italy, he always plays as a striker. Well, not always, nearly always plays as a striker for Italy. But he's never really had that crack with Leeds up front. It's always been a case of, well, you're coming in, you're figuring out the league, we'll play you on the wing until you get used to it a bit, and then you'll go up front maybe eventually. We'll turn into a winger if we can. But the first game of the season against Cardiff, I thought he was very, very good as a number 9. You're like, okay, this guy can play up front and can hold the ball up and can get involved in link play. And then he just hasn't really got a chance to get, and he's back out on the wing again because it's Piroe or Bamford.
It's weird. It's weird, isn't it? It's like, it's going to be hard for him to get that chance now, though, now that Bamford has scored a few goals and he has shown that he's an option again. So there was a point where he was just like, persona non grata for me. He was done. Didn't think he was going to ever contribute anything to the cause ever again. I genuinely didn't think he was going to score for Leeds again at one point. Yeah. And he's come back to life, and he's going to have crappy games, obviously, but he has shown he can still do stuff for us, and he is still a worthy option. And on form, he has been better than Piroe recently. So, Piroe was brought in to be the striker, although he is technically a 10, but we all know that he's the striker. So it pushes Gnonto further down the list if he wants to play in that sort of position, doesn't it? And I just don't see that chance coming for him, even though, like you say, he was really good there, and he does kind of come to life when he's there. He's like he's such a lively player. You
can't knock Piroe's finishing though. He's a very, very clean and tidy finisher. You know, if you did have someone, I kind of hoped that it would work for him today. I kind of hoped that he would take the bull by the horns and absolutely go with it. Yesterday. And obviously put a lot of doubters, put this whole swap Piroe and Rutter conversations that we've been having all season to bed, but he just really didn't, and I really disappointed actually, because he is quite a thorough finisher, a very, very clean and tidy player, and I can't really knock anything that he did. What he does, he's clean, it's safe, it's tidy, it's good. He doesn't really make many mistakes. Sometimes might get caught in possession a little bit, but then again, who doesn't? When you're playing that sort of football,
yeah.
So I were a bit like, I really, really wanted it to come. It might hit a little bit for him. You don't know. Maybe we might get some more penalties that he can come and take for us.
Maybe.
But yeah, I just think I think it was like an exhibition game a little bit. As weird as that might sound, like you said, Jay. The first 5 or 10 minutes, they obviously had a lot of ball. Plymouth seemed to be quite up for it, and then we kind of obviously, as we see, in the league. We took over, we took, like a hell of a lot of possession, and we just made it work. We were winning every 50-50, we were first to every ball, we were passing really well, movement was fantastic. The crowd were really behind everyone. The crowd were fantastic yesterday, actually, for a cup game, which was strange. Yeah. Because it's usually really quiet in it, especially with all the kids and stuff like that. But, it were great.
Bloody day trippers, people that aren't normally there getting tickets.
I would having a nice conversation with a chap from Lincoln, and he comes as much as he can do. But it's nice to see a few unfamiliar faces and whatever. And have a chat with them. But
it's nice to have games that give people a chance to get there.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought first half were relatively good, and I expected us to kick on and kind of just nip it. That second goal, I thought it's going to be coming in second half. Hopefully, we can get it, score it as soon as possible. Then maybe bring a few more fringe players in, get a few more kids in, bring Cresswell in, etc., etc. Yeah. And it just didn't happen. Yeah, and we're getting increasingly more frustrated with the fact that we seem to be just dicking around with it more. And I think that the more that the game went on, you could see in the team that they were like, really, really need to fucking crack on now. We really need to push on now. We need to get a frigging goal. And Plymouth were just soaking up everything that we threw at them. And obviously, there were a lot of wasted chances as well. And I said to my mate who was stood next to her, I says, they're going to, when obviously Byram nodded it off the line, I says, they're knocking on the door here. And I'm pretty certain everyone could see that.
That clanger, wasn't it?
Well, like hellfire. So obviously, I'm going to bring the conversation to our good friend Ilian Millier, who had not the best performance, I would say, yesterday. One thing that strikes me with Millier is when he was first introduced to the squad under Bielsa, that FA Cup game against Arsenal, his distribution was magnificent. I don't think I've seen a keeper, especially if we play for Leeds United, pass the ball around the back, just pinging balls left, right, and centre, to the right, to the left, so accurately and so flawlessly, so casually. I've never seen that before, but I don't know what's happened because he's so wasteful. One thing that really frustrates me with Ilian, and I'm not sure how Fark has him set up, or what the first, I suppose, the plan is once he receives the ball, and obviously everyone starts making their way up the pitch. I don't know whether he's got to distribute it near, or why he can't send. I mean, I can't remember if it was Gnonto or it was Rutter. We broke. And, you see it with Liverpool and Alisson and Salah. That ball over the top for them to chase down. We've got fast frigging players up front. Why are we not trying to, just ping a ball up front? But no, he does the fake throwing arm thing, and then we have to start again. And, you get that slow build up at the back. It's just like, fucking hell. Jay, give me your thoughts on Millier. I don't think we need to go into it that much. I think I've ranted on a little bit. But, what are your thoughts on Millier? Would you have rather have seen Klaassen?
No, because Klaassen's not going to be the keeper at any point. So you don't need to swap keepers out for cup games. They don't get as fatigued as outfield players. So for me, there's no point. For all Mellier's flaws, he still is the best keeper at the club. Do you know what I mean? So he's what we've got. We're not going to do better with somebody else in there. Klaassen did all right in his appearances, but he also didn't have a lot to do in those games. And I don't want to be relying on a young kid, because if we were, we'd be screaming about needing to go out and sign somebody like we are in other positions. Do you know what I mean? And he's what we've got, and he's what we're going to have until at least next season. So just got to embrace it. And, for best hope that he learns to catch a ball at some point, because that's the thing that is his biggest flaw for me. He will not catch a ball.
I don't think that's his fault.
Do you think he's told to punch it every time?
Because Carl Darlow's done it when he played, and Chris Klassen has done it when he's played. There's a pattern there.
Their keeper were doing it yesterday.
Most modern goalkeepers, and I think it's an old school trait that we expect a goalkeeper to command his area and to catch every ball. Modern goalkeepers don't catch balls. Allison doesn't catch balls. Ederson doesn't catch balls. Modern goalkeepers don't catch balls. It's a case of just get it away from the danger area, let the defenders reset, but your job is to get it out of there. I feel sorry. Again, I like Meslier. I think Meslier is going to be a cracking goalkeeper, and I keep saying this. I would hate to see us shout him out of the club and watch him go to someone else, and in 2 or 3 years be the goalkeeper that we expect him to be, and then go, oh well, look, he's a great guy. Because we always have that split in the fan base where you've got half the fans saying bin him, he's crap, and half the fans saying no, just hang on, just wait a bit longer.
Every time.
And
I think if the Leeds fan base all agreed on something like the world would end, or like hell mouth would open up below Elland Road or something. It could
be very polarizing. But I think if you look at like there was the distribution thing is a really good point from yesterday, because it looked like he was snatching at a couple of back passes and just kind of just poking them away, getting rid of them as quick as he can. But Plymouth were playing a very, very, very high press, and he was being given balls in situations where it was on his weaker foot or it was across his body and it wasn't in a comfortable position. And I think rather than just messing about, he was like, I'll just get rid of the ball, just get rid of it and just get rid of kick up the park. So I think there's an element of that. He is also, that's a really good point. The way Bielsa lined up versus Farke, there was an awful lot more patterns of play. Everything about Bielsa's system was rehearsed patterns. Everything was rehearsed. I mean, you looked at the Premier League managers when we were there and they all said the same thing. Leeds play with rehearsed patterns of play. You can predict how Leeds are going to play, but then nobody could actually do anything about it because they were how good they executed that. Daniel Farkas isn't as structured as that. There's a lot of structure to it, but it's not like that. And I think he's trying to relearn a game of football as well, which is and coming off the back of 2 very bad seasons where he's 23 years of age now. The fan base turned on him at 21. 22, he had one of the hardest years of his life. Yeah. And then this year, he's just started to mend bridges with the fans again. Yeah. But I think it's unfair because when Klassen, there's a portion of people saying play Klassen. You know, I've watched an awful lot of Chris Klassen. Klassen can be a very good shot stopper at times, but he makes a lot of mistakes. He is mistake prone. Van der Heuvel in the U21s is similar as well. Can be very, very good at times, but does make mistakes. So when you look at Meslier, there's mistakes in his game, but he's a 23-year-old. And I think there's a confidence level there that needs to be brought up. I think people need to just get behind the goalkeeper. He's the best we have. Also, people saying, like, again, the Allison and Ederson stuff. There are very, very few goalkeepers in the world of a world-class standard like that. And you're not going to get them at Leeds United because of the budgets and because of the level of the club. You've got a goalkeeper right now who is a very good shot stopper. I go back to the Leicester City game. The save he made against Leicester was incredible. You know, he has he has very big.
He is a very good shot stopper.
The one-hander,
and that's the thing. Like, you're not going to get. Back in the day, it was you got a goalkeeper who could dominate his box and catch the ball, but that was it. They couldn't play it on the ground. They weren't any good with their feet, but that was their job, was to control that. Now you're looking at a goalkeeper to be a sweeper. Your job is to sweep the back 4. Your job is to lead the play, is to get us started. Nearly as another 6 behind the back 4. Start the moves, control the play, be an option to pass out from the back. Also control your area, also be a very good shot stopper. You know, there's an awful lot more pressure than there used to be. And I think sometimes people set the bar a little bit too high for me. Like, yes, he makes mistakes, and I won't say that he doesn't. He does. He can't flap at things to a degree. But again, I don't think it's always his fault. There was the Norwich game where at the front post, he kind of did that at the front post. If you look a couple of seconds before that, he's got 4 lads around him who are all pushing into him, and he just kind of burst through and flapped that to get rid of it. So there is an element of panic there. Again, I think people forget what they were like at 23 years of age. I didn't have my shit together at 23 years of age. I didn't know what I was doing, and made mistakes people make at that age. I just think he needs a bit of a break. He's not going to get anywhere near his peak years till he hits 28, 29.
Exactly.
So now, in saying that, if Leeds go to the Premier League, do they need probably a better number 1 goalkeeper? Maybe, but then you lose Meslier, and then you maybe lose that potential. So you're in a weird position with a keeper who could end up being a really, really strong goalkeeper. But in the short term, if you react to the performances, you might get rid of him and end up looking down the line going, we shouldn't have done that. So I give him a little bit of a buy. And also, the 2 previous years, the last 2 years in the Premier League, he faced more shots than any other goalkeeper in the league, which means he was going to concede more goals than anybody else on average. So
I was just going to link onto that one. Obviously, as a defensive player, which is what a goalkeeper is, you're only as good as your back four or your back five, depending on whatever you play. And the last couple of years that we were in the Premier League, we had a very, very poor, very leaky defence.
It wasn't even a sieve in front of him. It was just a wet paper bag. It
was a joke. So obviously, if you've got a good player or players, your Rodons, etc., that are in front of you, that you half expect, for them to clear up any sort of issues that you got in front of you, your confidence as a keeper will grow. I think you're absolutely right there. I think in the Premier League, should Meslier go back up to the Premier League with us eventually, if he's still with the club, etc. He's so good. Now his strengths. Now, obviously, we've obviously highlighted his weaknesses and stuff, but his strengths, a one-on-one situation with a striker, he's so strong. He's so good.
Ask her.
Well, exactly. He reads the game so well when he's a one-on-one. But it's just like, how can you not take this and across you? But like you said, he's a kid. He's a young lad. He don't catch his balls like he should do, but then why would you? You're attempting to catch something that if you drop, we saw it against Bournemouth, if you drop it, you're in a world of shit because you've got a striker, or maybe two, because you've got two bloody strikers or midfielders sandwiching you as a keeper, trying to obviously nudge you off the ball, etc.
You're going to hear behind you. You're going to hear behind you. What's he catching that for? Why doesn't he just punch it? You can't win.
No, you can't.
That's true.
We're fickle. All fan bases are exactly the same.
You've got to remember as well.
You're right to the defense, though. I had this argument with somebody earlier in the year where I was like, the defense's job is to protect their goalkeeper. Like, no, it's not. I was like, no, it is. Their number one job is to protect that goal.
Why do you think you always see keepers going mental after a shot? Like, they're going, why you let that happen? Why are you closing down?
Your job is to make sure he has as little to do as possible. If you look at the two games that Chris Klassen played, he was protected incredibly well. I mean, there was one shot in one game, and even at that shot, he kind of fumbled it a little bit, but they were all around him straight away. So there was obviously an instruction, look after the kid, protect him, get him through the game. Meslier doesn't always get that same protection because I think it's seen that he's more experienced and he's been around longer. I mean, he's been in the Leeds team since he was, 19?
There's a lot of comments saying he needs to catch the ball.
There is.
I'm just going to pull this.
I'd say that's right, Jay. 100% right. He should catch the ball. But that doesn't appear to be the instructions from the team because, again,
you're right,
Carl Darlow was in the team and Carl Darlow's a more older style English goalkeeper. He didn't catch anything. He was punching balls. And then Chris Klassen, he was punching it as well. There's clearly an instruction or whatever they're being coached behind the scenes. Marcus Abad got a horrible rap from the Leeds fans as the goalkeeping coach. And now the current one is who's coaching the goalkeeper. It's like, lads, it's not always about the coaching of the goalkeeper. Sometimes it's instructions. I don't want you catching the ball in the box. Get rid of it. Just get it out of there and do your job.
It must be difficult as a player when you're doing what you've been told to do and people are criticizing you for that. And you're like, but that's what I've been told to do. Like, you must want to come out and just say, that's what I'm being told to do. But
if he keeps doing it and he's not getting dropped for it and he's not getting criticized by Farke for it, then clearly it's an instruction.
Yeah, it's good logic. Philip Anderson says there's always weaknesses in players. And I was going to say, like, with Meslier and with other players, it's like they wouldn't be with us if they didn't have some kind of flaw to them, either be it a lack of experience or there's a part of the game that's not quite right, or, you wouldn't have top-level perfect players in the Championship. They wouldn't be here if they were that good. So there are going to be things that people either do badly or can't do at this level. It's just the way it is.
If you go through the squad, Jay, right? Pick any player in the squad, any player. And
Dan James.
Right. What's he good at?
Running fast.
Yeah, distribution got better this year. What's he weak at?
Probably.
He got 10 goals, probably finishing a little bit because he's
finishing. Right? Yeah, his crossings come along, but it's probably still not amazing.
Yeah, okay. Then you can go through every single player, like Joel Piroe as well. Very good finisher, doesn't get involved in the game enough, but tidy on the ball when he has got it, but doesn't get involved enough. Jorginho Rutter, very, very skillful, overcarries the ball sometimes, gets caught in possession.
There's something with everybody, isn't there?
Correct. Go back to Illan Meslier. What's he good at? Outside of yesterday, shot stopping is very good. His distribution can be good.
He's quite quick with his feet.
He can be very quick with his feet. What's his weaknesses? Catching the ball.
Ball.
Every player has a strength and a weaknesses, but again, we seem to look at our goalkeeper and expect him to be 100% on everything. But that's not
it, isn't it? That's
the rest of the team.
That's football fans, though. Like, you want perfection, don't you? But you should know deep down you're not going to get it. It's not possible.
Yeah.
There's the whole anxiety that's hanging over Leeds still, obviously, and the fan base and everything, because we're so desperate to do well this year and obviously keep up with the pack that are setting the pace at the top of the league, you know. And you can sense that in the crowd, you can see it online, you can see it everywhere, that we're absolutely desperate to not make any mistakes. And when your only outlet or your only a kind of, you know, source of blame is your keeper or maybe a couple of, you know, defenders in seasons past, you latch onto that. And I think that obviously, you know, people don't see the good parts. They just focus too much on the bad.
Definitely, yeah.
You know,
We've always
that's
had a
just
player like
us. Yeah, exactly. We've always
had a lightning. Tyler Roberts was the consistent groan around Ellen Road. Every time Tyler Roberts got off the bench and looked like he was coming on, everyone would go, oh.
Yeah.
You know, there's always been a player who's been a lightning rod for the fans. Somebody else said there, we can't keep using the age as an excuse because he's played 100 games. You can play 1,000 games. You're still 23. You're still a kid. You're still a kid.
Yeah, you still have the mentality of a 23-year-old, regardless of how many games you played.
Yeah, he's still going on, probably hopping on the bus and playing his Nintendo Switch on the way back to the hotel after the game. You know what I mean? He's still 20. Just because he played 100 matches doesn't mean he's like. And the same thing, if you've played 100 amateur matches and you're 23 years of age, are you a more mature person? Probably not.
I wouldn't have thought so.
Absolutely. No. I play the best football I've played now, and I'm 38 years old. If I had my football brain as an 18, 19-year-old in a 19-year-old's body, I would be a hell of a lot better player. But that's just experience.
That's the experience.
And I don't have 36,000 people shouting at me every week either. You know,
telling your crap,
telling you your shit, or catch the ball, you nugget, or you know, whatever. Yeah. You know, I think that the crowd sometimes does have a lot of a part to play in some of the mistakes that we make. You know, against Norwich, when Norwich had that spell at the weekend, midweek, you know, they had that 10, 15 minutes, that little spell of possession. They were put us under a lot of pressure. And, you know, you could see, though, we were defending so well. You know, we kept them out. They were doing to us what a lot of teams do to, you know, we were doing to them what a lot of teams do to us. You know, staying compact, you know, making sure that we're absolutely tight at the back. And people like, go forward, attack this. And I'm like, will you just shut the fuck up? You know, like, I was getting proper pissed off with a lot of people, you know, saying this is shit Leeds and blah, 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 blah. I was saying to Tony, my mate, who I stand with, I'm like, they've given everything, but they've received nothing. You know, the Norwich did absolutely nothing against us. They didn't really they had one shot on target at the second half. They didn't put us under that much pressure. I mean, obviously,
they had that period for 10 minutes, didn't they? And that was the entire game.
This is what I'm talking about. But they didn't do anything. They didn't create anything. Yeah,
we were letting them do that. We were just keeping shape and letting them do it.
Exactly. Put up the wall. You're not coming through. You're not coming through. You're not coming past us. And then the possession turned over and away we went. You know, we were looking for that second goal. You know, and I just think the crowd sometimes unnecessarily gets on a lot of players' back, and I think sometimes the players feed off that. You know, just that what you're only as good as your weakest link. You know, it's like the frigging, you know, Spartans, Felix or whatever. You know, that one little chink, that one player going too forward, and another player's in straight away.
Yeah,
it's just disciplined.
That happened, and that was what happened. The difference, and I don't know if this. Farka said it wasn't the tactic, but outside the dropping off, we've dropped off this year and still allowed people to get chances. But against Norwich, we dropped off and we seemed to drop off into a low block for like 10 minutes in the second half.
Exactly.
But I was getting frustrated watching them. We haven't kicked the ball in 10 minutes. It's all we haven't even been near it. But they weren't getting in behind us. They weren't getting through us. It was compact and we held that block. And maybe that's something that he wants to work on if we do get to the Premier League, because we've seen how badly we defended in the Premier League the last 2 years we were there. So maybe he wants to get that, get that solid defense, because in the Championship, we're not going to have to defend as much as we'll have to defend in the Premier League. The gap is massive when we go up there against better sides. But if the thing that got me against Plymouth was, you can hear the fans, and I think Phil Hayes said it on Square Ball, and I think he absolutely nailed it. You could hear the fans getting a little bit itchy that we weren't in possession. And then there was these shouts to get out and push on. And then Kamara did it. And he just broke the block and he went down. The second he broke the block, bing, 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 they're in and around, straight into that space that he left. So you can't do that. If you're going to hold a disciplined low block, everyone has to stay in that low block. Everyone has. Against Norwich, we did it beautifully. I kept saying we need a second goal to see this off. I don't think this game is done. But we defended so well against Norwich in that low block that it was, by the end of the game, you're like, that's a fantastic defensive performance against a decent attacking side. Yeah. Whereas yesterday, it was frustration got the better of us and people broke that low block to try and press the ball and then got done, because that's the whole point of it. If you're playing a low block, teams will keep possession, and that's what Leeds do when we have the ball. It's possession with purpose. You keep the ball and it looks like you're just going side to side, but you're not. You're waiting on one of the defenders to break the block and come out and get frustrated. And that's your trigger to get in behind them and move in behind. So when we did it yesterday, it ended up costing us because we ended up being all over the place and got caught in counterattack. So sometimes it's a case of if we're in a low block, it could be 5 or 10 minutes just to catch your breath, get yourself reset again, and let them defend. But we don't want to see that. We want to see an attacking Leeds team 90 minutes of a game.
We want to see a swashbuckling attack, don't we? And it's
I'd like to see us stop being so wasteful in front of goal, and I would like to see us be a little bit more ruthless, because when we go 1-up against teams, we seem to think we're 3 or 4-0 up and start messing around with the ball, and again, Roger overcarries it and 3 overcarries.
That's literally exactly what happens in most of our games, isn't it? We just muck it out, thinking, this will be an absolute dominant. We don't need to try as hard. Yeah, this is in the bag, and obviously not. Plymouth are they're not easily brushed aside, and they're very hard to play against at home as well. The 15th, they're no slouches. They're not at the bottom of the table. They're obviously, I don't know how far away they are points wise from the playoffs, etc. But they've got their eye on the playoffs. They're still well within reach them. So
we were 15 for years in that division. We always thought we'd just sniff at the playoffs. So it's not
exactly.
I thought it were interesting that they seemed happy to be settling in for a replay from about 80 minutes. Like they stopped trying.
They'll do because their home form's so good.
Yeah, I know, but it's an extra game, isn't it? You'd think nobody really wants it, but yeah.
Yeah, that's our opinion on it, though. As we're vying for automatics. We're looking at the league, and we're looking on a couple of spaces up. They're looking at absolutely nothing. Really. They're hoping that they stay in the league, so they're going to try and get some more games out of this.
I guess. I guess trying to get a big cup tie is probably a decent aim for them. They ain't really got anything else going on.
If they beat us down at home and they get a good team or a big team in the next round, that's massive for them. That's huge. The revenue they'll generate for that is massive.
And they know our fans will turn up, even though it's a nothing bloody game on a Wednesday night in Plymouth or wherever it's going to be.
There'll be more than 600 go down there, I would assume. Even though we've got two games in quick succession down there. I'm going to just start comments.
Okay, go on. And then we should talk about Anthony and his goal.
Yes. Well, do you want to lead this podcast? You asked me to host it.
I don't, mate.
I can flick it back over if you like.
It's because I've got the picture open, so it's in my eye line. So
I know, I've seen your picture. Calm down. Fucking I'll get another coffee in you. So for the benefit of the audio listeners, John LUFC Garside says, get that Maidstone keeper signed up, lol. Well, I can't say anything about this because I've not even seen the chuffing match.
Need a hell of a game.
I just saw the score.
I've seen that people are going berserk, and obviously, when you look at it and you think Ipswich have absolutely had a clanger here, that is not going to do well for their confidence, is it?
You've got to hope there's a hangover from that, aren't you?
Well, I think there is anyway. I don't know about you guys, but I've kept my eyes on the results and stuff, and they are not playing as well as they have been. They're not as consistent as they have been. They are
scrapping for results
slow down and drop a few points here, there, and everywhere. So
they've gone from being like a team that's dominating people with decent passing and just overwhelming sides, and now they're just sort of scrapping for results. They keep conceding goals, and they don't look solid.
No, they don't. Yeah, but we expected that. We expected.
We did, yeah. Although when you get to this point and it's only just started to happen, you've.
Is he gone?
Did I freeze then? Did I freeze?
You did freeze. You did freeze.
I just say when you get to this point and it's only just started happening that you've got nervous by now, haven't you? So you're like shitting your pants, but it's happening.
We've seen it time and time again. We've been there. Friggin' hell, how many seasons have we been up there and the shit out and then start dropping down league?
No one's ever been top at Christmas and not got promoted.
Well, only for a certain amount of years, but yeah, you're absolutely right. We have West Aussie Leeds in the comments. Isn't it good, though, that we can all be upset at yesterday and our current incomings, but remember, we are still unbeaten in 2024. We're still unbeaten at home as well, which is what I said to a few of my mates. I said, it's absolutely crucial that we do not lose this game. Even if we draw, that's fine. I do not want to lose. We've not lost at home all season. I don't want to do it to a fucking shithouse set of bastards from
I'd love to keep
the
the
South Coast.
record.
Exactly. Paul Brennan. Hello, gentlemen. 3 fine gentlemen. Absolutely. The finest. The finest in the land. Welcome to the channel, Jay. A lot of love for you, Jay, in the comments. Lee Fryer says, he's ordered your shirt, Jay. It's on.
Oh, God.
It's
Jesus
on what?
Christ.
A Ken doll?
It's real now.
Small Hobbit-like person? I didn't realise they did Page Boy shirts in that fucking size, Jay, I'll be honest.
I didn't realise they did that for your head.
They don't? This is green screen.
You just got a green bandana wrapped around your head.
It's a filter. You've all been hoodwinked. Russ, obviously our wonderful friend from Rotherham. Morning, lads. Was at the game of 2 hours yesterday. We can't believe how we dropped off in the second half compared to how we played in the first half. Delighted Anthony got his goal after the news. Ari, his mum, absolutely. And that will take us nicely into Jaden Anthony's very, very nice and very tidy solo effort. Obviously the lad's been through a lot. To make himself available the other week as well, relatively soon after it happened, just shows his strength of character. Really, he seems like a really nice guy. He's very well liked still at Bournemouth, obviously. Yeah, and he's a really, really good player, and I was very happy to see him play so well. He's very, very good.
Didn't one of the Bournemouth players have a message on his shirt for him as well?
Yeah, shirt for him. Yeah,
I think it was there. I think Solanke did, but the under-21s had one as well, didn't they? I think their under-21s team did something for them as well, which is great, isn't it? I mean, Bournemouth are an half-decent club, aren't they? I've got no grievances with them lads down there. Like you say, it just goes to show, how much he's well thought of and stuff, and how well he contributed yesterday. I thought he fitted into the system very well, as we have seen him do in bits and parts here, there, and everywhere. But I was glad that he got a start. I think he's very, very good. I think he's quite technical. He's probably not on Somerville's scale, but he is. He's tidy. He's tidy, and that little 1-2 that he played to himself through them two defenders, that was just sublime.
That was nice, wasn't it?
Yeah,
you can tell he's a confidence player, can't you? If you got a run of games, I think you'd start to see more from him. It's definitely the talent's there. I think he's been a bit inconsistent, but we've not seen a lot of him. He's not had a chance to settle into the side. So
again, that goes to minutes, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
And having the opportunity to
got a picture of him here with his shirt with his message for his mum.
Yeah,
it was lovely.
Why would you want to give him a yellow card? Why would you give him a yellow card?
You got no choice, have they? I don't think.
No, they don't.
I remember when the Leicester thing happened with the helicopter crash, and one of them had a shirt thing on, and the ref had to book him. And I can't remember if it was Bryn that was telling me this yesterday. It was like,
yeah, you could see that he didn't want to do it.
He didn't want to do it, but he had to because he'll get bollocked if he doesn't.
But how come then? How come? Right, I've a BME bonnet about this because it was clear. It was clear as day what was going on. It was understood the situation that was there. I would be shocked if the club or the player himself didn't say to the referee before the game, "If I score, by the way, I'm taking my shirt off," just to let you know. Right? I mean, by the letter of law, a jersey pull is an automatic yellow card. Automatic every time. If you pull a shirt, it's a yellow card. How many times have we seen Leeds players dragged to the ground by their shorts, free kicks given, and no yellow cards given them? So
all the time.
A cynical tackle is a automatic yellow card. You look at Archie Gray, the kick he got off Adam Meada against Norwich. Nothing but a cynical tackle. Kicks him in the knee, no ball there, knee tackle, no yellow card. But they have to book him for taking his shirt off. That has to be a yellow card.
It's bizarre, isn't it?
Yeah.
So just if referees have discretion as referees, then they've got discretion across everything. They can choose to do that. I mean, the referee could have gone, I'm going to have a chat with you, but I'm not going to book you. I'm going to walk away. He could have left that go, and he decided not to. And it's the same and it's not just Leeds. It's in those situations when it's something like that. Jaden Anthony looked very determined yesterday that he was going to score a goal. He wanted that.
This is interesting.
Yeah, he did.
Russ is in the comments, and he said that Solanke didn't get booked after his shirt went off to show a message for Anthony's mum. That is interesting.
But Anthony himself, his mum gets booked.
I always thought the rule was that if they take the shirt off and they've got nothing underneath, they get booked. So I used to think that you could do what he's done there with the t-shirt, but obviously, apparently not these days.
Do you say that
I don't know if that's changed.
You could put it over your head behind your neck, but just don't take it off.
That's I suppose it adds to the moment, doesn't it, when your shirt's coming off?
Just adrenaline.
Yeah. It's like I totally understood him doing it. I was like, fair play. You know what I mean? But then you're thinking, but now he's on a yellow for about 60 minutes or something.
Yeah, but he's not the sort of player that's going to get.
No, he's not. He's not. Luckily, it's just it's like it's an unfortunate, needless booking, isn't it?
At least he didn't do a Bamford and take his shirt off and then get injured straight after it, like he did.
I know, yeah.
That'd been a belter, wouldn't it?
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, exactly.
I think there's a lot to be said for the fact that he showed up as well just a few days after his mum had died in the Orient squad, and he's obviously all in at Leeds. He's committed to the cause here.
And that just goes down to the culture of the club as well, and obviously the support network that he's got around him. And like I say, it strikes me as a very, very well run squad at the minute. I mean, we saw with the exclusion of Mr. Jed Spence, he was off your pop, sweetheart, see you later. We don't want them sort of characters around. And I think that goes quite far under Fark. I think that's a lot to be said about that. And I'm
The
glad
culture and the
happened
atmosphere is
under
clearly
Marsh.
very important to Farke.
But it was under Bielsa.
In a certain sort of situation, certain setup with these guys.
First and foremost, under Bielsa, that culture, everything around the team, the way
Character
that you
came
were,
first.
he had them picking litter up, to obviously, to et cetera, et cetera. All the little things that he did, to bring that team together and to build that relationship with the fans and the club and et cetera, et cetera. It's there again, and you can clearly see it, and this is what we've had missing for a couple of seasons. We certainly didn't have that under Allardyce, Gracia and Marsh, nowhere near. I mean, as much as Mr. Marsh wants to go on his podcast and say that he did this, that, and the other, it were rotten. It were absolutely rotten, and you can see that with some of the players that came in, i.e., friggin' Western McDonald's, etc., etc. Those kind of players didn't give a shit. These players do. Yeah, and you can just relate to that, and you can see that on the pitch, and I think that's why all of a sudden again we've got a kind of a solidified club, and it's great because I'd rather have this, even if we were mid-table, I would rather have this kind of feeling around the club, this culture, than to be shite and everyone not liking each other, but still going up or being relegated, etc. It's just
feeling like the players care is a massive part of it for me. Yeah. Watching those ourselves last season, it were a total disconnect. You knew they didn't want to be there. We didn't want them to be there. It was just poison last year. And now we're getting back to something good.
I think we need to be careful next year if we do get promoted, because from the way things look like they're panning out with the contract situation of players and the market at the moment, looking at loans rather than permanent moves, it looks like there's going to be, and there's apparently there are rumors behind the scene that there's a massive clear out expected in the summer and a massive recruitment drive of new players to come in if we do get promoted. We need to be really, really careful. But what we saw from the last 2 seasons, the Premier League, is these players wanted to come to the Premier League for Premier League money, not necessarily Leeds United. They want to be in the Premier League. And it can be a bit mercenary. You hear them all talking about, I want to play in the Premier League. I want to play in the Premier League. I don't want to hear that. I want to hear I want to play for Leeds United. That's what I want to hear.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't want someone coming here to put themselves in a shop window or showcase.
Yeah, that's the big one, especially with the lads around 23, 24 years of age. They're coming in here to show that McKennie was coming to fix his career and get back in the window for maybe Arsenal or Aston Villa could buy him, But it's when you're in the Championship, you look at the likes of Bamford, you look at the likes of Rodon. They've come in to kickstart their careers, and they want to play for a big club at this level. Leeds are a massive club at this level, and even when they go into the Premier League, it's a massive club. They know what it's about. It's when we go back up, and it's the the usual lads that'll get linked with the club. Like, be careful who you're signing here. Make sure we get the right
Jesse Lingard and crap like that.
Yeah, it's gonna be that kind of stuff. But you again, it goes back to the culture thing that Farke is creating, and it's massive. Like, culture does everything. Culture weeds out players that you don't want in your squad. If they're not willing to work hard outside of the football, then you know that they're not going to work hard for the football. If you put them under stress in training sessions mentally, you'll see what the character is like. So you'll know how they react when they're under stress playing in front of 60,000 people or whatever it is in an away match. So you can get a sense for that, and then clear them out of your club and bring in the players you want to. But you're 100% correct. We didn't. I mean, even the season where Bielsa was let go, there was still always a thing in the back of your head of, we'll get through this. Like, we'll stay up. Yeah. We will persevere at this. But when Jesse was there, and I gave Jesse so much time. I really gave Jesse a ton of time to get it right. And same with Allardyce and same with Javi. And I felt Javi's the one I felt the most sorry for, because I thought he'd actually would get there eventually, but didn't, the circumstances. But there was no focus on culture. It was a focus on getting 3 points, focus on getting 3 points, even when Jesse was there. And that's a huge problem, because you don't test the character of the players then. You just run them in training. You do your video sessions that Jesse liked to do, and you stick them out on the pitch, and hopefully they win your games. But when they were under stress, and Jesse talked an awful lot about stress when he was the Leeds manager, the characters weren't there to handle that stress, and they buckled and they fell short. So, yeah, it's a huge...
Didn't he come out saying they were scared a few times?
Well,
on the sideline,
literally saw him saying it. They're scared. They're not scared. They probably are scared. They might have been scared. They're scared because they don't know what to do, because he wasn't a leader.
It's his job to make them not scared.
Yeah, but he also threw the whole team under the bus in that moment.
Absolutely,
he threw the whole side under the bus publicly by saying they're scared, and you're like, well, they're not going to react well to that, are they? They're not going to, jump in front of a bullet for you if it's not going well, because you've just called them out in front of everybody. You
can imagine like a group of lads sat around playing FIFA or whatever they're doing in the time off, and like they'll see on Twitter, have you seen this? Have you seen what he said? And they'll all be like, Fucking hell, man! Is he joking? This bloke? Is he taking piss?
It was just the pod dodgers in the comments and saying that it was tactically inept. I mean, I didn't really want to turn this into a chuffing marsh bashing, but I'm all for it because any excuse really.
Fuck it, get pitchforks out, man.
Any excuse
now. Not the ammo.
But you look at the way that Marsh set up his teams and etc. It was boring, horrible football. It was just an absolute mess. It was just chaos. Whereas you look at Luke Ayling at the Nottingham game when he looked dejected and everything. Obviously Bielsa had a meeting, and he took them all in and he said, "Trust the process. Trust the, bear with me. Trust me. Trust yourselves. Believe in yourselves, and we'll get there." And we did because they had something to fall back on. That they had the belief in themselves, they had the belief in the manager first and foremost, which I don't think that the squad did last season.
No,
for all of them, really. Fucking Allardyce. Well, I don't class Allardyce. I see that as just an absolute fucking farce. To be honest, it was just an absolute joke. But you definitely didn't have that under Marsh. I can't specifically say anything about Gracia because I don't know. But you look at the belief that the guys had and everything that was surrounding Bielsa. They believed in him, but they had something to fall back on. Like I said, those scripted moves, etc. They took we've said it a long time. He took a very average bunch of players and made them into world beaters. They did, but that's because they had something to fall back on. All that Marsh was, he was just relying on individual skill or talent a lot of the time. And sometimes it'd pay off, and then sometimes it wouldn't. To rely on a kid that was not fit for the Premier League. I know, right? But all we did was play it to Willie. Give the ball to Willie Gnonto and see what he can do. That is literally what our game became.
Yeah,
it were a joke. It were an absolute frigging joke. But anyway,
it was shit. Anyway,
we love to bash Marsh, etc., etc. So, have you got anything else to add, lads? Have you got anything else to say?
I was a bit surprised that we didn't see Cresswell after he's been publicly brought back into the squad. I thought he might have played. It would probably be too soon, but
I think if he got a second goal, you would have seen him come off the bench.
Yes,
for a couple of minutes.
I think possibly, yeah. It was a shame not to see him, but I'm glad he's back.
I never expected him to start, I'll be honest, but I did, like you guys have said, I think I expected him to see him. But then I expected to see a few more, like I said earlier. If we'd have been 2-0 or whatever, it gives you an opportunity to bring on these young kids and to get them some game time or whatever.
Where do you guys sit on the substitutions thing? Because again, yesterday it's a reactive substitution. It's we don't make a change until we go a goal, until they equalise, and then all of a sudden there's a flood of changes from the 77th minute on. And again, we could see that goal coming for a while. This could probably do with being ramped up a little bit, get a few more of the regular lads on the park. And I really do. My biggest criticism of Daniel Farke, I like what he's doing with Leeds. I think he's done a cracking job at Leeds. But the biggest criticism I have is the squad rotation and the use of the substitutes. Because you look at, again, Archie last week picking up an injury. If we're managing these players correctly, if we're taking them off at the right time, and again, everyone said as well, if you want the lads coming off the bench to make an impact, 7 minutes isn't going to make an impact. 3 minutes isn't going to 25-30 minutes, you've got an opportunity to make an impact. But again, if you wait until they've scored and then you're like, right now we'll make the changes. But if those changes are going to help you to score a goal, then why wouldn't you make them before that and get the second goal and kill the game off?
Yeah, I get that. I think sometimes he's got it right. Sometimes he's got it wrong, but he does do them so late, and it is frustrating because you do want to see someone have a chance to get into a game and have a chance to change it. But I think it's probably something along the lines of he believes in Plan A and the process so much that he doesn't want to change it unless he feels he has no choice at all. And I think that's an element of it. I think he just wants to keep doing what he thinks is the best way to play against a particular opponent. He doesn't want to change it, I don't think. But you have to sometimes. It's the 1 flaw in him for me that does bother me a bit. But I think everything else I'm happy with. So
I think collectively as a fan base, we can all see that it's his only real weakness. That whole squad rotation thing. The squad rotation thing's probably another subject because there isn't that much in squad depth at the moment. Let's be honest. Yeah. But from when you can see that the guys are crying out for changes, whether it be maybe even as early as the 55th, 60th minute, I for the first time, and I said to the guys in the Peacock afterwards, I couldn't believe what I was saying, right? But at the 60th minute, I said, "Do you know what? We need Firpo and Bamford." And if I'd have gone back in time or forward in time 3 months, I would have I would have probably gone outside and I'd had a word with myself. You know what I mean?
If you'd have heard somebody next to you say that in the ground, you'd have had a go at them.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I slapped it. What are you talking about? You know, I couldn't believe I was saying it, but I was like, we need Bamford. We need something. We need a change. Gnonto was ineffective, really. You know, he was doing a few things, but he really, you know, there was nothing coming from him. And Piroe, I says, we have to get him off. I says, we need to drop 3 at the back, which I don't think we did. I'd drop 3 at the back, take Shaq off, maybe bring Firpo on, but play him as a midfielder because he seems to go. He's much better midfielder than he is a defender.
It's his best position.
Absolutely.
Wide left.
Who was it? Who was it used to say, "Oh, he's an inside forward"? Is Firpo? Rick Bandy.
He's a wing back, or I think he's a very direct winger. That's what I think he is because he's very good going forward. His delivery is excellent across it, but he can't defend. He's not a great guy.
Unless he gets in someone's way by accident, you know. That's it.
Hang about. Got a comment from Russ here. He's got some breaking news. I hope he's going to be quick and tell us.
Hashioka,
maybe. That Japanese right back guy.
His kettle's broken, or he's got the hobnobs out, or something like that. I hope.
Come on, Russ, don't keep us hanging, mate.
Just ready.
Breaking. Leeds United are closing in on the signing of Sint-Truiden right back. Daiki Hashioka. That's my best go at that. Hashioka is a Japanese international fee in the region of €2 million. Interesting.
Nice.
Very good attacking.
You heard it here first.
Max at Leeds lately actually has a video on him from a couple of days ago. You should go check.
Oh, really?
Okay. All right.
I can Scout Report 1.
I'd not even heard about this guy. So obviously, the name's been about for a few days.
He's just come out today. It's come out of nowhere today, which makes it
way.
very likely it's a real signing because this is the 49ers MO, isn't it?
Tends to be
and it just goes to show, you know, all these rumours and, you know, the Ben Godfrey, etc., etc. I said to people, you know, if it's a rumour, it's not happening. As you've just alluded to, Joe, you know, the 49ers, and we've said this on podcasts previous to this, the 49ers go about the business effectively and very, very quietly. I said that there's a good chance that we will make a few extra signings towards the end of the window because that's when all the best ones are available, really.
That's
the clubs keep hold of a lot of their players because they don't just want to sell, you know, get rid of them, you know, to wishy-washy clubs, you know, potentially like Leeds United in the Championship. They want them to go to maybe, you know, good teams abroad or potentially go on loan to other Premier League teams, whether it's a Premier League sort of player. You know, now is the time to strike. Now is the time to soak up them sort of players where maybe clubs have been holding on to them a little bit and gone, I'll tell you what, you can go to Leeds.
You get clubs that are waiting, don't you, to see if they get any injuries or anything through January, and then they'll let players go right at the end if they're doing all right and they're not lost any numbers. You know what I mean? You'll get clubs that'll wait till the end of the window on purpose like that.
If you look at the players that we've been linked with, or the kind of players that they're going to bring in, one of the big things is going. And I was saying this on my channel during the week, looking at the likes of Ben Godfrey being linked and Calvin Ramsey being linked, is these teams and these players want minutes. And Daniel Farke can't guarantee any of them minutes because Daniel Farke doesn't work that way. You don't come into the team and go. You don't come into Leeds and go straight into the starting 11. You don't. You come in and you've got to work your way into the team. You've got to bide your time and wait for your moment. So that doesn't appeal to the likes of Liverpool because they pulled Ramsey back from Preston because he wasn't getting the minutes they wanted. So he was never coming to Leeds in that situation because he's got to be a backup option. Same with Ben Godfrey. He wants minutes. He wants to play week in and week out. Now, who are we dropping? Joe Rodon? Are we dropping Ampadu out there? Are we taking Stroke out? Or is he going to go in right back? You know, so is Archie going to be dropped out? I don't think so. So there's that. This guy pops up. I mean, there's interest in him. Genk are interested in him. Club Brugge apparently are very interested in him as well. He's a good age, he's 24. I think there's similarities to Firpo. Everything I've seen of the player is attacking, not so much his defending. But he's very fast. He's got a lovely delivery on him, and he does clock up assists and goals as well as a fullback. But so did Rasmus Christensen. So, before he came to us. But he's got an excellent delivery. He could be a decent shout at right back. But I think they'll do 3, and I think they'll do them late. And I think it's the same thing. If you look at the kind of players that they want to bring in, they're going to be bringing in players that can make an impact in this side, which means they're going to have to be better than what we've currently got. That's going to be Premier League players. So then you're waiting on Premier League teams to get the players that they want for these lads to become available. And then you can nip in. And that's going to go right down till the end of the window. The David Brooks one keeps popping up, and that's I've already said it. If David Brooks comes to Leeds, it'll be a final day move when that happens.
Yeah, I like when you say. Sorry, go on, Smarty.
No, mate. No, you go on.
I like when you say he's got good delivery because it just brings back visions of Barry Douglas and how he had that wonderful left foot, and then he came to us, and he seemed to
Forgot
lose
the
all
other.
footballing ability.
I
That's what we do to players.
You were made of cheese, though, wasn't
He was. Outside of Rafinha, I think when you come to
And he
Leeds,
wore
you
some
lose the
wacky
ability
gear.
to take a set piece.
he? Yeah.
He wore some wacky gear, didn't he?
He did. I liked Barry Douglas. I thought he was a good player.
Yeah.
Just a shame he
No,
never
he was.
got
He was
any
a good character.
consistency behind him. You know,
He's a good character. We
B-dog.
struggled, don't we, for left backs and stuff like that.
For
We just
years.
don't ever seem to find the right person.
It's the elusive position. But then again, you look at Byram, you know, and he's come in at left back and he's doing really, really well there. Obviously, it's just managing his fitness and keeping him, you know, injury free. You know, the best thing for, you know, in that defence for us, obviously, inclusion of Ampadu, because as it turns out, Ampadu and Rodon are our best centre back pairing.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
Obviously, well, you know, but
Joe
Rodon,
watching Ampadu, and you're thinking he's brilliant, he's great, passing everywhere, brilliant midfielder, what we've been crying out for. Then he goes into defence, it's like brilliant defender, we can't put him back in midfield.
he's just absolutely
crazy.
quality. Ampadu is just absolutely quality. He's a Rolls Royce, and as is Rodon. You know, and the best thing I think that we could do this window, if at all possible, is to sign Rodon on a permanent. That'd just be
100%.
Yeah.
But they are going to say
he'd probably get injured straight away afterwards, so maybe just leave him until summer. That is how it happens. That's what works, isn't it? Oh, we've signed him permanently. Oh, he's injured for 6 months. Oh, brilliant. Nice one.
I will just say, I think I said on Joe's show, actually, when we'd mentioned Godfrey and stuff. Piss off. I wouldn't want us to have to like promise minutes to anyone to get them to come here. If you're a good player, you should back yourself to break into a side. You shouldn't need someone to say to you, "You're going to play if you come in." No, we don't. That's why we didn't get Carvalho and stuff, because we won't do that. And I'm happy with that. If that puts people off coming, then I'm all right with that. I don't want them here.
One thing, I tell you what, that's one thing that pisses me off, that he went to them frigging codheads, because the amount of fucking idiots on Twitter, etc. Oh, he wanted to come to a proper club, he didn't want to go to Leeds. I'm like, shut up, you silly
more like
sod.
he's gone to codheads so he can be a big fish in a small pond.
Honestly, like, who do you think you are? Yeah.
Anyway, we're getting off track here.
We are.
I think you were trying to finish up about 10 minutes ago, weren't you?
No. I wanted to come onto the whole onto that topic anyway. You know, looking at potential signings and stuff. But you know, we'll see. We'll cover that probably in the main show on Tuesday. I'm not sure who is on, but they'll be covering. Or they'll be looking forward to the Bristol City game away next
deadline
week.
Day Tuesday. It's Wednesday, isn't it? 31st Wednesday. That'll be end of window, won't it? Or is it first of Feb when it shuts?
I thought it.
Is it 31st of January?
I think no, it's 31st, but I'm sure you're allowed a certain allocated amount of time to do any sort of signatures, etc.
He's already there. He's already told us as Ross. He's on
11 p.m. on Thursday.
He knows.
It's great.
So
I was going to say, probably beneficial us doing a pod straight after that, see if we've got anyone coming through. But yeah, I don't think we'll wait till Thursday. But anyway.
We'll see.
We will see. If you haven't done, please like and subscribe to our channel, because we need all you lovely people on board with us for our wonderful insight and tactical excellence.
That's
it. Obviously, so we can attract wonderful people like Jay to come on our podcast, etc.
That's it. And Gilly don't feed us if we don't get subscriptions.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's the man. He's the man with a purse and very tight purse strings as well, like I say. Thank you everyone for joining us this morning in the comments, etc. We've had some great stuff coming through in the comments. Thank you very much, Jay, for attending. I believe is it your first Berardi and Co?
This is my first Berardi and Co. Yeah, long time watcher, first time appearance.
It's the All-Star edition. We got Jay.
Certainly not the last. Thank you very much for jumping on with us this morning, mate. It's really appreciate it. Thanks for your insight. Jay, thanks very much for allowing me to host when you couldn't be asked this morning.
Mate, I'm grateful that you agreed to do it, because I would have just been messed. I've woke up a bit now, but first thing I
just like a wing kicked in, Jay, halfway.
That's
like
it's like crawled out of a little cave.
Starts going.
Horse this morning. I'm feeling sorry for myself.
I did feel like that.
I've done everything else, Jay, might as well. Thanks again, everyone else. Please subscribe to our channel. The lads will be back on Tuesday, and like I say, there's not much left of it, but enjoy your Sundays, chaps, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us.